YouTube, what's going on today? We're going to be going over my live reaction on the Diablo 4 quarterly update that was just announced yesterday. We're going to be going over all the changes that they put in, all the new things they put in, and see exactly how we feel about it. If you guys want to, leave a comment down below and let me know if you guys like the changes, if you don't like the changes, things you would like to see added into Diablo 4, if it's shaping up to be the game that you expect it to be. If not, what changes would you make? So if you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1,000 subs on the channel. There's a lot of people that watch the videos that aren't subscribed. And as always, if you want to catch a live stream, it's 5 p.m. Eastern anytime throughout the week. Until then, guys, have a nice day. Catch you in the next one. Oh boy. Okay, so Diablo 4 quarterly update, December 2021. Table of contents, October deeper dive into sound. Okay, so we need to see the changes here. Since our last vlog, we've worked hard and added new content and systems in the game. We made big strides with every build of the game containing a host of expanded content, new art, balance changes, and other iterations. In fact, the team is currently playtesting an internal release of the game that represents a significant milestone. We have much to share with you today as a result, so let's dive in. First, lead systems designer Joe, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, will discuss updates and key elements in itemization. These include the return of plus skills on items. See, that's kind of a big thing from Diablo 2. There's a lot of plus skill items in Diablo 2, so we'll see how that shapes up with all the new items and stuff like that they're putting in. A new way to interact with legendary powers. That sounds a lot like stripping legendary powers like you did in Diablo 3. Don't know if I like that, but we'll see. We'll see what else there is. There's some early work on targeted drops. Wait. Targeted drops. As in, I can specifically farm for pieces of gear for targeted areas. Okay. Completely new in-game character growth system. The Paragon board. Okay, so they're bringing back Paragon levels. So we'll see how that shapes up. Yeah, so let's just get into the itemization here. Okay, plus skill affixes. In Diablo 4, the plus rank affix returns. As players invest points into skills that would grow in potency, and find new items with plus rank can speed that along. Okay, so they're basically putting in, this looks like a prefix here. Or sorry, an affix here. Yeah, this is an affix here for +4 to flay. Which I'm assuming is probably a barbarian skill. Okay, so if you guys are looking at this item and you're wondering, hey, that doesn't have that many stats on it, it's probably because it's a blue item and carries only so many affix and so many prefix on it. So as this item would go up in a rarity, for instance, to rare and then legendary, whatever, I guess, it would add more prefixes, more suffixes. That's why it doesn't have that many things on it. Okay, so legendary unique item remain a core to Diablo item chase experience. We've made foundational change to legendary items in Diablo 4 by allowing legendary powers to appear on multiple item slots. Okay, so you can get legendary items, legendary powers to appear on multiple slots. As in, you can have like a neck that has flay skill and a belt that has flay skill. It's the same suffix plus the skill, and then it'll just change slots. Now the real question is, what happens when you find a power on an axe when you really want it on a ring, or you found a great legendary mallet but can't use the power? Well, this is when we get to introduce our new friend, the occultist. Okay, so it looks like a shaman of some kind. So this is basically this chick is taking the place of the mystic in Diablo 3. The occultist can extract legendary powers from, okay, there it is. Can extract legendary powers from a legendary item, crystallizing it in an essence while destroying the item in the process. The essence can be implanted into a new legendary item, overriding the power that was present in the item. Okay, so basically you strip a legendary... Yeah, it says it here. So they're stripping the Fury skill damage and... yeah. And creating the essence. I'm assuming it'll take whatever legendary power from the item that you're putting the essence on and removing it. So here it says, allow item types, one-handed, two-handed, power increased by 66%, gloves, amulet, power increased by 33%, and a ring. Okay, so they're making certain item slots and item types have more percentage power based off of whatever it is. Okay, that's pretty cool. I guess you can build your character around whatever legendary or whatever skills you want to do. Like if I want to stack, I don't know, say Whirlwind or something like that, I can have Whirlwind power on every piece of gear that I have. And then just... That way I'm not focus farming a specific piece of gear. I can find the legendary that I want. If it doesn't have the correct power skill, I could swap it and have, say, like I said, Whirlwind on every single piece of gear that dramatically changed the way that Whirlwind works. So, I mean, technically speaking, it looks to me like that's kind of replacing the Diablo 3 version of the runes that you get for your skills. So if I have like Lashing Tail Kick, and then I select Lashing Tail Kick, and then I have 5 things to choose from on how I want my Lashing Tail Kick to work. So, I mean, putting it on items is kind of weird. But at the same time, I mean, I guess it saves them space and, like, skill trees, I guess. I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see how that kind of works out. Because, I mean, they have the stripping the legendary powers now in Diablo 3. And you leave them in your cube and you can select what items you want, whether it's a weapon, armor piece, or jewelry. You can have one of each legendary power from a specific legendary piece of gear. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just going to be weird. People are going to be stacking, like, crazy amounts of skill. Like, I can see it now that people are going to be stacking crazy amounts of plus skill. And then stripping legendary powers and making, like, one skill extremely broken. But, I mean, ultimately people are going to find a way to min-max everything that they could possibly min-max anyway, right? So, it is what it is. We'll just have to wait to see the like what happens with the builds when they come out. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll see. Okay, so, item before adding essence upgrade to the item. Okay, so they have a rare amulet with these base stats. And then they basically just take the base stats from that and created this. Whirlwind periodically pulls in enemies nearby. Okay, so yeah. So it's basically Cyclone on a Whirlwind Barbarian. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that there is a skill now that pulls in Diablo 3 that pulls in, like Whirlwind will pull in targets. So basically they're just taking the same system and just putting it on items. It's literally the same thing. Which, again, necessarily isn't necessarily a bad thing. We'll just have to see. Okay, so hunting for items. Sanctuary is a vast world filled with forlorn trails through werewolf-infested forests, withered hearts crawling with cannibals, and fog-choked graveyards, crawling with the restless dead. There are plenty of enemies and monsters for the hero to encounter. Each of these monsters seem to enjoy collecting certain types of items and would be somewhat more likely to drop these items than others, while bandits are fond of maces, crossbows, and boots. If you're hunting for a new pair of pants, you might want to... Wait, you'll do well to kill some of the drowned instead. Okay, so they're literally making it where if you like, if I'm looking for a specific pair of pants, the drowned are most likely to drop a pair of pants. So we're going to have to wait to see what kind of loot tables come out, but it looks like you can focus farm specific pieces of gear that you're missing. It's just the chances on whether or not they're going to be legendary or not, I guess, but I mean, we don't really have that now in any aspect whatsoever for Diablo, so that's kind of cool. Other than, say, Diablo 2, where you're hunting for higher item level zones anyway, like Chaos Sanctuary or Bale Throne Room, things like that, or the Pit for item level 85 to get certain pieces of gear to drop, and they can't drop anywhere else except for those places. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I kind of like the idea of focus farming certain groups, but then again, I also don't want to spend a shitload of time farming one specific mob type. I want to like get. It's kind of like they're missing the mark with to me. This is just my opinion. They're missing the mark on what Diablo is in some kind of way, but they're trying to get back to what Diablo was. And I mean, ultimately for me, I mean, okay, let's just continue to see exactly what this is, and I'll give my thoughts on that when we're done. Okay, so the Paragon board in Diablo 4 heavily emphasis on character customization and ensure that the players control. Okay, see, like this sentence is like weird to me because they want to give build customizations to ensure you have plenty of control over how your hero grows, which is great for like casual players. Which, I mean, there's a lot of the fan base that are casual players to begin with, but then again, like I said before, you're gonna have players. Most players, they're gonna want to min-max everything. So they want the best of the best, the fastest clear speed, fastest way to farm items, fastest way to get up on rankings on the board, things like that. So people are going to be searching, like crazy searching, build guides and how to do certain things, especially if they use this Paragon board that they're talking about. How to itemize their character, how to do whatever. So basically they're playing the game for another player that has already put the time in to tell them how to play the game, which feels weird. But at the same time, we're going to run into that problem with almost every game we have where people are going to want to min-max and get the best of the best. So, I mean, it is what it is. Okay, let's see. The Paragon board unlocks... okay, so level cap is 50. Hero begins their journey on the Paragon system in a central tile on the board and make a selection radiating outwards. Once the hero reaches a gate tile, you'll choose which new Paragon board you would like to attach to at the location. Okay. The desired outcome is a personalized set of bonuses that will empower your hero and honor your dedication to their progress. Okay, so for this is some of the old school like RPG players or MMO players here. It sounds a lot like EverQuest AA points back in the day, where you would reach max level in EverQuest and you would get AA points, where it would dramatically or not dramatically, depending on which ones you take, increase certain things that your character could do after the content is already over in your max level. So you're just trying to scale content into harder difficulties, or find a way to blow through the newer content with like crazy amounts of power because of AA points, or in this case, Paragon points. So the image down below. Okay, so let's look at this image here. Okay, so basically, just at first glance, what I'm seeing here is, I mean, there's obviously needs a lot of polishing because it just looks like a bunch of dots. But, so here's a central tile point. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Yeah. Central tile point here. So this is where your character's starting. So say this is a barbarian, right? So you would want to go whatever path. It looks like these are... Yeah, these could be things that you put in, I guess. Actually, this looks like a socket of something you put in. And this looks like something to get to, like a certain kind of tile. Honestly, and my first glance, this seems like it has shades of Path of Exile, where it looks like this could be a radius jewel, and these could be like key nodes. So, okay, so we have normal tiles. They're straightforward, small, but meaningful stat boosts. Probably like plus the stats or dodge or something like that. Tiles are connected tissues. that can be found throughout the board and are quite common. Okay, so magic tiles. Magic tiles are found in clusters throughout the board. See, they're even calling in clusters. Okay. And provide a potent, more diverse set of benefits. As you might expect, they are less common than normal tiles, but are plentiful. Okay, rare tiles, significant boost of power. And then legendary tiles. Okay, so, alright, here's a picture. So we have common, okay, plus stats, common, yeah. Kind of like Path of Exile. Magic, so... I mean, like I said, at first glance, it looks like it's just like Path of Exile, the way that this thing is set up to work, with shades of Diablo. So the common tiles in Path of Exile tree would be like plus 10 to strength, plus 5 or plus 10 to dexterity, plus 10 to intelligence, something like that. Something that like increase stats in general, or just small little changes here and there. Then you start to work your way into magic, which magic leads into rare. And rare leads into what would be legendary, so that would be like the final key node for a Path of Exile skill tree. So this would be like you working your way to a ring. This would be like you getting closer to the ring. This will be you filling out the ring, and this will be the final node that you pick after the ring is selected. I mean, it's literally like Path of Exile, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just wish that they would have came up with some kind of better concept for it. But then again, I'm not sitting here trying to be a hater. I just wish that more thought process probably should have went into that. Glyphs and sockets. A socket is a special tile that contains a glyph. Glyphs are items found throughout the sanctuary. Okay, so they're drops. Glyphs are items found throughout the sanctuary, or that are embedded into the Paragon board. Confer various benefits based upon the number of active tiles within their radius. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so these are exactly like radius jewels from Path of Exile. So if you guys have ever played PoE, and you find you go through your passive skill tree and you find a socket for a jewel, you can either put a basic jewel in there that would do like give stats like resistances or whatever. But you could also put a radius jewel in there that affects everything around the radius. So, for instance, let's go back to the other tree here. So it looks like here, you would see this would be a radius jewel. So if they're putting a radius jewel in here, say it's small, it would affect it looks like a 3x3 area. And then a medium would affect 1 square out or such. Actually, it looks like they have it turned sideways, but I mean, it's kind of the same concept. Yeah, and then a large one would affect a larger area. So I'm guessing that these would have something to do with, like, you put the jewel in and it says that it, like, things that are within the radius get an increased benefit, or these things turn into dexterity nodes, or like these strength nodes turn into dexterity nodes, things like that. That's exactly what Path of Exile does. So, okay, let's, that's not right. Let's go back to this. So, radius small grants 30% bonus to all nodes within the range. Yeah, exactly. Medium radius, for every 10 dexterity purchased within the range, you deal 13.5% increased damage to vulnerable targets. Grants 40.5% bonus to all nodes within the range. Okay, so, it's exactly like a radius jewel from Path of Exile. It's just made for the Diablo version. Every 10 willpower purchase within the range. So basically, you're still going to have to purchase the nodes, the smaller nodes within the range, but every time that you purchase something, for instance, within this radius that has a plus 10 to willpower purchase, you're also getting increased overpower damage. So, I mean, yeah. Grants 4 strength for each willpower purchase within the range. So, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It works exactly the same way as the Path of Exile ones do. Okay, so from this, it looks like they reached the edge of the board and they're selecting. I'm assuming that's a legendary one right there. Can we pause this? I can't pause that. Yeah, the middle ring right here is a legendary one. So the Paragon, basically, you're just going to level Paragon and fill out whatever path you want to take. I wonder if there's a Paragon cap now. I think they need to put a cap on it because the way that the Diablo 3 Paragon system got completely out of hand, with people getting 2,000 some Paragon level within the first 3 days of a reset, is insane. I don't know. They have to put some kind of cap on it because there's going to be a race for it, and once it gets released, like, yeah, people are just going to race to get the best of the best and see what happens. And then they're probably just going to get bored, just like every other season of Diablo. But I mean, ultimately, guys, with all the changes that they're making, I mean, it sounds like they put a lot of thought process into it, and sadly, it kind of looks like they somewhat ripped off Path of Exile for this little passive skill tree thing for the Paragon system. I mean, obviously, Path of Exile does a difference. You get points as you level instead of reach max level and then get points. So it's going to stretch out the longevity of the game ultimately in general in between seasons. But yeah, this stuff is, I mean, like this legendary one right here is literally a passive skill point that you put into your character in Diablo 3. So you have 4 passives that you can select. That's literally one of them. And they just found another way to implement it a different way through the Paragon system. And these are literally just Radius Jewels from Path of Exile. There's no denying that. They look pretty much the same. They work exactly the same. I mean, we'll see how it changes. I mean, dude, the way that it looks right now is like I said, people are going to min-max, and 99% of these tiles are going to get ignored because somebody's going to go out and watch a video and say, oh, well, this is the highest damage output that you can get for this X build for a barbarian, whether it's Whirlwind or Flurry or whatever. And then people are never going to touch certain nodes. It's kind of the same way like Theory Crafting and Path of Exile. There's a ton of builds out there, but at the same time, there's still nodes in Path of Exile that aren't like ever touched, that will never be touched, because there is another way to do it to make it better for different nodes. But ultimately, at the end of the day, here's what I'm taking out of it. I like the changes that they're putting in. I did see some of the videos for the VFX, for the skill changes. The game looks great. It looks like it plays really good. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like, I was hoping to see more at this point. I kind of like the idea that they put in more, at least they put back in skill points on certain things. I like the idea that if you get a crap piece of gear, you can rip the essence off of it and put it onto something else and actually make it worthwhile. That actually brings back, like, rare items are now a thing. Like finding a well-statted rare item and then stripping a legendary power off of another thing, putting it on the rare item that you found. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Focus farming pieces of gear, that's cool, but again, it can get kind of monotonous if you're killing the same things over and over and over and over again. But I think, like, if they're trying to take steps back with Diablo in general, it feels weird that they're doing it this way, when it's kind of hard to implement new systems whenever you have a game like Diablo. For instance, Diablo 1 came out, it was groundbreaking. Diablo 2 came out, and there was so much customization that you can create any kind of character you want to and build them out any way you want to, even though at the time of release, like, people didn't exactly know what was going on, and they just kind of built the character with whatever way they wanted to until people started to min-max. Then you had skills that were never being used, skills that were nerfed, and then, you know, other skills that were buffed. And now, all of a sudden, that skill was never being used again. For instance, Diablo 2 Nova Sorceress used to be a thing, and then now it's garbage. Because lightning or chain lightning or whatever, fireball, meteor, blizzard, they're just so much better. There's no point in using, like, handicapping yourself. But at the same time, there's only so many systems out there before you start, like, say, ripping off another game or whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want my honest opinion about it, they're missing the mark of what made Diablo 2 so good. It wasn't necessarily the fact that farming was a thing. Diablo 3 farming is still a thing, but it's different. Because in Diablo 2, you can have any item drop for any character, and then you trade it. Diablo 3, there's no trading, unless it dropped in the same game as a player that you were trading it to. Or they were involved in some way in the same game. That's the mark that they're missing. More than anything. So, at the beginning of Diablo 3, people complained about, oh, I'm a monk, why am I getting barbarian gear? This is bullshit, I can't trade it. That makes sense. Then they put in, oh, you're more likely to find monk gear if you're playing a monk. More likely to find barbarian gear if you're playing a barbarian. But, you still can't trade it. Let me be very clear here. Diablo 2 was extremely good about the fact that every piece of gear can drop, every rune can drop for every character, and then you can trade it. The biggest thing about Diablo 2 to me is the trading community. That's the biggest thing. You want the biggest, best, most badass item that you can find and trade that shit. Trade that shit and make the ultimate character that you could possibly make. Instead of going out and farming the gear, you could go out and farm any piece of gear and put together a trade for the gear that you want. That's, to me, that's the core Diablo experience, and it's just, I wish that they would get back to that. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know how I feel about it. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm definitely going to give the game a try and see exactly what's going on. Dude, I love Diablo. I do. I've loved Diablo since the release of Diablo 1. I'm a huge nut when it comes to these things. And I mean, my opinion is my opinion. That's just how it goes. It could be good. I don't know. It also could be something that makes me just want to play Diablo 2 Resurrected or find another game to play. I don't know. But we'll see. I'm not going to be too critical about it at this point. We'll see what kind of changes they're going to be putting in, whether they're going to take steps back or take steps forward on exactly what's going on. But I mean, so far they're putting in new things, which is cool, I guess. I don't know how to feel about it. So, yeah, let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments down below. And as always, make sure that you guys like the video, getting my name out there a little bit more so people can see this video more. Yeah, if you want to stop into the live streams, make sure that you stop in at 5 p.m. Eastern. Whenever we stream throughout the week, I'm going to be playing more Diablo 2 Resurrected whenever the ladder resets. Until then, we're going to be playing more Call of Duty. We actually just started picking up playing Super People with some of the guys that I played Diablo with. But yeah, guys, I mean, these changes are going to be crazy, so let me know how you feel about them. All right, catch you in the next one. Peace.